The NBA draft one day in the books and free agent upon the horizon. It's safe to say that one of the free agents is the top story today. Want to find out who is? Stay tuned to Hardwood Smack. Welcome back, you guys. Thank you so much for spending some time with us here on Hardwood Smack. As of course, I am Mr. C. Lowe. Here talking all things pro BB, things on the pro hardwood. And just want to tell you guys I appreciate all the love that you've been giving me, and I hope you continue to join the Hardwood Smack family. But today we got some business to attend to. As many of you that watched the draft, I have not done a show on that and probably will shortly, but I have not done one because with free agent looming, you guys, we all know there's about to be some shakeup. Whether it's Paul George or Chris Paul or even Tobias Harris, just to name a few. The Atlanta Hawks did something that I didn't think they would do, but I did think they needed to make a move, considering that they have been loaded with talent the last 5 or 6 years and just have absolutely squandered it. And today they made a deal with the New Orleans Pelicans, sending a guard that they traded a lot to get a couple years back, DeJounte Murray. Now, I was not a fan of the Murray-Trae Young trade when it took place. Even though Murray is a type of guard that is almost the opposite of Trae Young. Trae Young's more of a high-volume shooting guard / point guard type guy, whereas DeJounte Murray is more of a Ben Simmons with a better stroke than Trae Young is. He's a much more efficient distributor, but he can also get to the rim and has just a good enough three-point stroke that you have to really, really respect it. Now, having said that, the Hawks have really come up short with DeJounte Murray over the last couple of seasons when they've had him. And I thought when this went through, this was going to be the result. Not because DeJounte Murray was not that great of a player, but the fact that DeJounte Murray doesn't really fit what the Hawks do. Now, what do the Hawks do? I don't even think the Hawks know what they do at this point, because they've had a plethora of great players, or good to high above average players, and they failed to capitalize on it. And this being one of them. We look at DeJounte Murray's numbers, and they went up. Other than his first year where he was down 1 point from his final year in San Antonio, his point total went up this season. Other than that, everything else pretty much stayed the same other than the assist. The assist, of course, went down because he was not touching the ball as much. His rebounds went down. A lot of his numbers went down. Now, with that being said, what was the issue in Atlanta? Well, to tell you the truth, like I said, I just think it was the fact that the Hawks did not have an identity. I didn't think they were going to have an identity when they traded for him. I thought this was going to be a loaded backcourt. Now, why this trade is interesting to me for the New Orleans Pelicans, to me, this fit is much better a fit for the New Orleans Pelicans. I think it's a huge, huge win for this team because here's the thing. CJ McCollum is always on Sports Center or First Take or whatever you want to call it. He's always on these programs talking about what needs to happen, who needs to do this, and here's the thing. People will say, I respect CJ and this, that, and the other. You shoot too much. And we saw what happened last season when CJ McCollum, when the Pelicans needed a basket from CJ McCollum, he just could not get it done. Some of the same things we saw when he was in Portland. Sorry. To me, CJ McCollum's a good player. He's not up there with an elite player. Sorry. To me, he's a poor man's Klay Thompson. You can call me what you want. He's a high volume scorer. And for people to sit there and think that, that's a horrible thing to say. Oh, that's this and that. Well, he don't turn it on when it's in game time. And I'm sorry. That was the same issue you had in Portland when you were with Dame Lillard. And even I have the same argument with Dame Lillard. But what this does now gives a guy to facilitate the offense and do the things that CJ McCollum is clearly incapable of doing, which is handle the basketball and get other guys involved. He does an okay job. I'm not going to put all the carry on him. He does an okay job, but he's clearly not that dude. Let's look at his assist numbers. They're 5, 7, 6, and 4, 6 here. And now you're getting a guy whom I really think this is going to work in New Orleans' favor for this reason. Because Dejounte Murray is now people will say he's a shooting guard. No, I see him as a very good distributor. To me, he's the point guard that they need. He's an excellent choice. He's 6'5", 180. Now, he probably will be the 2 guard playing next to CJ McCollum. Because the reality of it is Dejounte Murray is a very good distributor. He's a very good player that is capable of facilitating your offense, being able to do things that, if New Orleans can get this team back to where Murray had his 21, 8, and 9 season, the final year he was in San Antonio, this is the player you're hoping to get. But here's the thing. It comes at a cost. You're going to have to ask Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram to defer to him with the creativity. It's not going to be a situation where you're saying, okay, Zion, I'm going to let you create for a basket. Now, if he's got an obvious mismatch, of course. But I get it. If you want the Dejounte Murray that is 21, 9, and 8, which he has the capability of being, this team could go places because now you're talking about a guy who can get his own shot. He can post guys up. More than likely, they'll use a bigger guy to guard him, or you could even use the pick and roll to get him in it. Better yet, you could use him in the pick and roll with Zion, Ingram, and who knows where your offense can go from there. And that's what makes this exciting. I definitely see this as a major upgrade from New Orleans. You looking at it, you can see that the Pelicans are buying in to putting the right pieces around Zion Williamson to make this a contender. You still got Jonas Valanciunas. I still think you've got Herbert Jones, who fits in nicely if you want to play small with Zion at the 5 or Brandon Ingram at the 5, and you can definitely play up to speed with a lot of these guys. Even though I still have a problem with Brandon Ingram not putting on it. He's got to put on some weight on that little frame of his. For a guy his size, he's strong, but he's still got to put on some weight. But as I said, you could go Zion Williamson at that 5, Brandon Ingram at that 4. You could go Herbert Jones or Trey Murphy at that 3. And then, of course, you got CJ McCollum and Dejounte Murray. This is a win all the way around. Even though you did lose even though you did lose Larry Nance, EJ Liddell, and Dyson Daniels, but to me, Larry Nance Jr. was not being fully utilized there anyway. Larry Nance has been a journeyman that has been exceptionally good in a lot of places. He's the guy that I thought was the forgotten entity in all of this. Larry Nance Jr. has been a very good player to be 31. I'm telling you, I've watched this kid in so many. Well, he's not a kid anymore. I've watched this guy, and it seems like he's a kid because he keeps getting bounced around, and people will say, "Well, he's not." It reminds me a lot of Gary Payton, second. Not getting his opportunities in a lot of places. He was with Cleveland after the LeBron era. He was in LA before the LeBron era, and then he had 1 year in Portland. And the best season he had was at that Knicks last season in Cleveland, where he had averaged 10 points a game. He was averaging 26 minutes a game. This is a guy that is a high energy guy off the bench, and to see this guy not get the level of opportunity is beyond me. But looking at what the Hawks now have with their roster, being that now that you've lost DeJounte Murray, now you go back to you've got Trae Young back at the point, Bojan Bogdanovic, who has not seen the court nearly as much as they hoped he would. Zachariah Rasacher. Well, you're talking about you're looking at the rookie who will be playing the 3 now, Jalen Johnson and Clint Capella, with DeAndre Hunter coming off the bench, whom, as I've said many times, he's not being utilized correctly. And, of course, there's Larry Nance Jr. in this mix and Dyson Daniels. Now, you look at this roster led by Trae Young. If they can get Zachariah in this thing right, this team could be dangerous. To me, the only weakness you can even look at Jalen Johnson and saying, okay, all right, this is a guy that has shown flashes, but Atlanta's got to get it figured out. To me, this is an 8 roster team. This is an 8 deep roster. To me, that's where it is. It's 8 deep. And you could, use a guy like Hunter, and you can use a guy like Nance as your small lineup. To me, Nance brings a lot of energy, and they could use him efficiently. It's just whether the Hawks are going to get it together. They've had some talented players the last couple of seasons and just have not put it together. We just saw the DeJounte Murray trade. We're talking about it right now. Look at the roster that they had last season, and you wonder, they didn't even make the playoffs. But anyway, guys, let me know what you think about DeJounte Murray on his way to New Orleans from the Atlanta Hawks. Who do you think won this trade? Did the Hawks win this trade, or did the New Orleans Pelicans win it? I think you guys kind of know where I'm going with this, but let me know in the comments down there, you guys. But until we step on the court again, keep talking that smack on the hardwoods.
Know what I mean? What you gonna do when I come through, babe? What you wanna do? Anything goes on the court, I never been beat. Beauty only skin deep, I like the rim 10 feet. You can't stop me, your game looks sloppy. You need more practice, maybe you like this. To enjoy the game by midway, I can drive around you, even shoot a trait. A 3-point threat, no sweat, you can bet. Back it out and fade away all net. Hang time. Tell me, what you gonna do when I come through, babe? What you wanna do? Fast breaks, alley-oops, you know the rules. Crossover dribbles, taking you to school like that. Next time, remember who you're playing. You get no mercy, know what I'm saying? If you reach, I'ma teach. 2 for the layup, catch you on the rebound. Game over, stay up. What you gonna do when I come through, babe? game time, y'all. You know what I'm saying?